We also have pitchers for you. I have 2 pitchers to stream. How many pitchers do you have?
I also have 2.
All right, so I'm going to kick it off this time.
Sure.
I'm going to go with Chris Paddack, who I told you
Mhm.
to stream a couple weeks ago. It didn't work out so well. He wasn't great, but then he's come back the last 2 starts, 11 and a third innings, 16 strikeouts, a .79 ERA, and 2 wins in those 2 starts. So pretty good for Chris Paddack, and he's going up against the Yankees. And then later in the week, I think he's facing the Cleveland Guardians.
Yep.
Yeah. So should be, I mean, again, the Yankees are starting to get hot a little bit offensively, but they haven't been like a scorching offense. They've been very up and down this season. And the Guardians are never a great offense. So considering what he's done in the last 2 starts, it's been a rocky season, but he's available on waivers. You can stream him. He's available. He's only rostered in 16% of Yahoo leagues. So Chris Paddack probably available. You can pick him up in your league and stream him for this week. You'll get probably 2 solid starts out of him.
Yeah, I like that call. Big Chris Paddack fan, and he's just a reminder that growth isn't linear with some of these guys. He's 28.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the highest rated prospects that we had.
I mean, we all remember when he first came up, right?
Yeah,
and the hype around him.
I remember it was like him and then Mike Soroka. They were like the 2 guys, 2 of the next dudes, and look where we're at now, right? It's just wild.
Yeah.
So my first pitcher is Jose Soriano for the Los Angeles Angels. He's going up against St. Louis on Monday, rostered in 32% of leagues. And the reason why I like him is not necessarily like, I don't think he's a stud. I think he's he's got above average stuff. So if you know what stuff plus is, essentially just measuring how good of a pitch you have or how good of pitches you have, right? Do you have nasty stuff, right? Spin rate, movement, stuff like that, velocity. And Jose Soriano's got good stuff. 105 stuff plus, where average is 100. So going up against a middling Cardinals offense, he's looked good so far this year. Soriano has. If you're looking for a stream, I wouldn't look much further than Jose Soriano on Monday.
I think that was complimentary, by the way, to the Cardinals. Like, their offense has been pretty bad.
It has, yeah.
They've been one of the like surprisingly bad teams in the league this year.
Maybe we got to find it. I was not buying the Cardinals at all. I really wasn't. I didn't, especially once Jordan Walker didn't figure it out. That was it. Like Lars Nootbaar obviously was out for a while, and he's been, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it from the beginning. So maybe that's just my salty Cubs bias. But what do you got? What's next?
I got another guy named Christopher Sanchez. He's rostered in 60% of Yahoo leagues, so he might be rostered more in like some of the more hardo leagues, and then you have to. That's a little bit tougher. But I like his matchups this week. He's playing the Mets at Citi Field. The Mets don't like to score a lot of runs at home. It's just something they don't do. So, and then he's got the Nationals later in the week, so he's going to get you 2 starts. He's pitching for the Phillies, who are as hot as any team. So if you're in a wins league, you could probably steal a couple wins that way. And his last start, he got the win throwing 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA for that one start. So good start for him. Christopher Sanchez, not going to get you a ton of strikeouts, but can strike some guys out. And like I said, his ERA and WHIP have been low. He's got 2 starts, 2 favorable matchups this week. And again, his team's going to score runs for him. He could probably get you two wins this week.
Yeah, I like that. I'm a big fan. My next one is a pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he was one that I was on in the offseason. I was really hoping that he would kind of get some run as a starter earlier, but he's here now, and his name is Robert Gasser. He's going to take over that number 5 starting role, and he did pitch against the Cardinals 2 days ago now, and just absolutely looked phenomenal. 6 innings, just 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. So not big strikeout stuff last time, but he's got the potential. He had a 33% strikeout rate in the minor leagues this year, 10% walk rate, which are 11%. We don't love that, but against an offense like the Cardinals, like we just talked about, they're not doing too hot. They haven't looked good. So Kyle Hendricks I'm sorry. I skipped a step. He will be facing Pittsburgh. Robert Gasser will be on Wednesday. And Kyle Hendricks just shut down Pittsburgh.
And he's been awful this year.
He's been horrible. So if Kyle Hendricks,
one of the worst xERAs in the league this year so far.
Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. And he
I don't
just
know
went
what
5
xERA
innings.
is, but I saw that he's one of the worst.
Expected ERA, right? Like,
okay, him and the other guy from Baltimore, forget which one of their starters has just been awful this year. But yeah,
Sure.
continue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's so yeah, I got ahead of myself. But Robert Gasser will be playing Pittsburgh on Wednesday, pitching against them. If he just did that well against St. Louis, he's probably going to do pretty well against Pittsburgh. So yeah, I would be starting Robert Gasser. And he's a guy I wouldn't even mind holding on to for a little bit and see, especially if he throws well, because he's got Miami right after that on May 21st. So two really good starts looking ahead for Robert Gasser.
And by the way, the same goes for Chris Paddack. Like if he keeps it up, like I would
Mhm.
Christopher Sanchez, I wouldn't expect him to be on your roster, although he's the one who's more rostered of the two. But Chris Paddack, like, could be a guy who, hey, now you have him. You know what I mean? Also, I did see that Blake Snell did throw a rehab start. Should have said this at
Mm.
the top. But he had a rehab start. He actually threw an immaculate inning in his rehab start, which is cool.
Very
On
cool.
our
Good
end.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.